Today I'll be showing you 7 different and unique trial chamber seeds you could use for your Minecraft world. Starting off with this one, which actually has a pretty decent balance of 1.21 stuff, as well as just a pretty decent survival world overall, because your spawn is located right here, right inside this one plains biome, right next to a pretty decent sized forest around the place, and a decent sized ocean, including not too far from that a village we can see right here. And if we continue heading off in this direction, yeah, a woodland mansion literally like about 3, maybe 400 blocks away from spawn. Insanity already. And something that's also insane is the fact that there's an outpost just seeing itself right here, which, by the way, you're going to want to find one to get yourself that bad omen bottle. And after you do that, you're going to want to head yourself back over to the woodland mansion, because pretty much right below this woodland mansion is actually going to be an entire trial chambers, because if we just set ourselves down there, yeah, there is a trial chamber right below the woodland mansion. So if you want to have, like, I don't know, double trouble inside of one particular seed, as well as like a fairly decent balance of pretty decent stuff around spawn and around things like that, then I think for the most part this seed definitely has you covered in that sense. But if you're looking for a bit more of immediate access to outposts and trial chambers, then this seed might have you covered, which, yes, by the way, I did show this off a while ago, but upon revisiting it, is actually well worthwhile actually checking it out again, because right behind spawn, we can see there's a pillager outpost right in the middle of the ocean, which normally, obviously, this shouldn't be happening, but in this seed it definitely does. Which, I'll be honest, in some cases might make it a little bit hard to get inside this outpost. But if you do manage to get yourself up here, and do manage to get yourself the ominous bottle, then you're going to want to head yourself pretty much right beneath the ocean right now, because just off in this direction for a little bit is actually the trial chamber itself. And by a little bit, I mean at these corners, if you just dig yourself pretty much right below right here, then we will eventually see that we are inside the trial chamber. So, yeah, that is pretty immediate. A little bit of digging, but yeah, still, if you want to get yourself inside a trial chamber relatively quickly with the ominous effects, then this seed really does have you covered in really quick senses. It might obviously be a bit tricky on doing things if you just head yourself straight into here, but still, the option is obviously there. But if you're still looking for a decent balance of like a good seed overall with an easily accessible trial chamber, then check out this seed, because right at spawn we have ourselves an absolutely huge plains biome we can see right here, and a really flat one too. So in the case you want to build like some massive structures or do something like that, then you have so much ground to work with and so much flat ground of that. I mean, look at that. Look at how far I went, and look at how flat this ground actually is. But if you're still looking for some hilly plains, then this seed definitely has it right around here, including an outpost right here and a village right there. So not only are you set with the ominous effect, but you're also set with lots of food and lots of other gear you can find inside the village, including lots of access to the trial chambers, because right around here there are plenty of different caves we can see going pretty deep down. And if I'm right next to this one church building, you just head yourself down in this direction right here. If you follow these coordinates directly and right through this cave directly, then you are eventually going to run yourself straight into a trial chamber, as we can see right off in the distance right there, with no blocks broken, no hassle from getting down here, just pretty much an immediate straight all the way down to the trial chambers. The only blocks you're really gonna have to break are the couple to get yourself inside of here, but apart from that, you have pretty much immediate access from that one village straight inside of this trial chamber. Let's assume you're someone who's like, okay, that one's easily accessible, but who really has the time to walk 300 blocks from spawn? Well, in the case you are that person, then check out this seed, because pretty much right at spawn, you're spawning pretty much right above a trial chambers, because right around spawn, you first off get yourselves a decent plains biome, a decent forest, and a decent ocean biome, as well as decent access to the trial chambers itself. Well, at these coordinates right here, we're going to find ourselves a cave entrance, and if you follow the exact same way I'm going to a T, then you're eventually going to run into a pretty decent drop. A few blocks you are admittedly going to have to break, but if you just keep heading yourself down, up this way, past these little crevices around the place, head yourself down this way, and then trial chamber right here, pretty much like straight off the back from where you spawn. Like, seriously, spawn was like at about, I don't know, like 700 by 200 or something like that, and about 50 blocks away from spawn, you get almost immediate access to a trial chamber. Like, seriously, I can't describe how quick you could be inside this thing. Like, seriously, this is unbelievably quick. It's not something that's entirely out of the question considering how often trial chambers actually spawn across your world, but still, having one really close to spawn and having one spawn in a way that's actually really easy to get yourself inside of that's still something a seed like this is pretty handy in having, if I'm honest. But this seed, unlike the last one, isn't quite as easy to get to because first off, you spawn right next to a pretty stony mountain, as we can see right here, which actually goes up a fair decent distance all the way up past the clouds. And what you're going to want to do is actually head past the clouds, past this huge stony mountain biome, right next to this huge Mesa Badlands mountain right here, because right below here is actually where we're going to find the trial chambers. And unfortunate for us, because trial chambers only spawn below Y0, meaning you're going to have a bit of an effort to get yourself inside the trial chambers, unless you were lucky enough to find yourself possibly one or two cave entrances around the place, which is fortunately enough something we have. And yeah, around about these courts we could find ourselves the trial chamber itself, and not only that, we're also going to find ourselves an ancient city pretty much spawning in the exact same spot. Yeah, wild, crazy generation happening in one specific spot with two very difficult structures, and two very difficult structures spawning in the exact same spot, which is something that is surprisingly way more common than I thought. Like, again, considering how often the trial chambers actually spawn, the odds of something like this happening isn't actually too uncommon from what I've seen. The fortunate thing about this one is the fact that, unlike other ones I found, this one actually doesn't mess with the ancient city itself, meaning you're still going to get all the benefits of the ancient city we see around the place, as well as all the trial chamber benefits around here too. While you will be getting benefits from around here, you're also going to be getting a whole bunch of cons, being possible wardens managing to spawn near or maybe even inside of the trial chamber. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen if you go inside this one trial chamber, but I am saying that there is that minor possibility that something like that could happen, if it wasn't evidence enough that there's a bunch of skulks just sitting around the place. But if you want nothing but the structure, then this seed definitely has it, and I mean literally just the structure, because you're literally spawning right on top of a survival island, and yeah, a fairly decent sized survival island with, fortunate enough, a couple trees here and there, and fortunately enough for us, actual access to the trial chambers itself, without needing to break any blocks, because you might be able to see from right around here, that light down there is actually the trial chambers. Yeah, you don't need to break anything. All you need to do is just swim your way all the way down in here, and then just break the couple blocks that's necessary to get inside the trial chambers, and then you're in. You're pretty much immediately in with maybe one or two minor evidences that you are underwater with some waterlogged blocks around the place. But how close could you find, say, like 2 trial chambers in one spot? Well, this scene kind of answers it, and yeah, right below here, if we just hop into Spectator really quickly, then we could see we are pretty much right above the trial chambers. And from the entranceway, or I guess in this case, exit way, if you want to head yourself out to this one cave, what you're going to do, head off in this direction for just a little bit, past this little cave area we can see right here, because trial chambers, from the looks of things, have a hard limit as to how close they can actually spawn next to each other, and it doesn't seem as though like it's an immediately obvious distance, but yeah, it is some form of a distance. But in the case you do want to have like access to 2 trial chambers from the looks of things, like pretty much as close as I could get it, then this seed pretty much has you covered in that sense. But yeah, let me know what you think of these seeds down below. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.